Hello. Today I'm going to be going over why not seeing yourself as a gamer and not being a quote unquote gamer is actually one of the most important things you can do for curing a gaming addiction. And by the way, this is not just going to go into gaming, but in general, this whole ideology. So, what exactly do I mean? Well, there's two things. Number one, you can play video games. So, for example, you just hop on the video game and you just play the game. But there's also being a gamer. And being a gamer means you see yourself in that identity. You play games regularly, okay, but one step further, you integrate gaming as part of your identity and you start to see yourself as a quote unquote gamer. Now, what's the problem? The problem is that your identity, your self perception of your identity, always precedes what actually happens in your life. So imagine if this is time. So to the right, time goes on. If your identity is here, you're actually right here. Action. So in other words, wherever your identity is, that is where your action will go eventually. If you have the identity as a gamer, then your actions will follow that identity. Your identity precedes your actions. So, this gets into the whole, self visualizations, affirmations type of thing, which can seem kind of cringe, but just hear me out here, okay? I'm saying it is beneficial to, if you are, gaming 12 hours a day, let's say, something absurd, right? If you're gaming a whole lot, I'm saying start seeing yourself, literally, like, become delusional. Start seeing yourself as the person who hates video games, who never plays video games, even if you still hop on the game that day. The moment you hop off, say, I'm not a gamer. I'm not a gamer. Like, that has nothing to do with me. That's not my identity. That's not who I am. Okay? The reason we're doing this is to disassociate yourself from the gaming identity. Because again, your action is always drawn to your identity. Your identity is like a magnet, okay? And whatever your actions are, they are drawn to this magnet. And so if you establish the identity of being a gamer, your actions will be drawn to being a gamer, okay? So if let's say hypothetically you have like a gaming related desktop wallpaper or something like that, or maybe a poster in your room or something that reminds you of gaming, right? If you have that, you are reinforcing gaming as part of your identity, and you're going to be so much more likely to hop on the game that next day if you're trying to quit. Even if you're trying to quit through sheer willpower alone, it's not going to happen. With something like video games that take advantage, by the way, check out my full guide to quitting video games. With something like video games that take advantage of so many important parts of your being, your desire for status, for progress, for human connection. Those desires that you have are so deeply rooted within you as a human that to fight this addiction is incredibly difficult, and you won't be able to do it with willpower alone. You need to change your identity at its core. So, stop seeing yourself as a gamer. Anything that feels associated with gaming in any way, I want you to remove it from your life. Change your environment somehow. That is the key. Somehow change your environment. For example, put your console in a different spot. If you normally play games on your computer, you can try removing the game from your computer to A, serve as self-binding, but also B, reinforce this identity of I don't play games anymore. Or literally just move it to a different folder in your computer so that and next time you access it, it's like, oh yeah, I don't really play games that much anymore. I'm not really a gamer. Stop talking about gaming related topics entirely with your friends. This is a really big one. If you do anything that reminds you of gaming, that'll reinforce the identity of gaming. So, one of the biggest things is when people start gaming, they have gaming related circles. And I might make a full social guide with quitting addiction in the future, but check out that video game video. I talk a little bit about how you can rewire your social life and that. Basically, if you're still talking with your friends about video games, even if you don't even hop on the game anymore, you're going to be drawn to it because you see it as your identity. This is why people who win the lottery, like, I don't know, they win $1 million or something like that. This is why those people, that's 10 million, whatever. This is why those people end up getting up to about the same wealth level as they were when they started. It partially, yeah, because they just don't have the financial knowledge to manage their money well, but also partially because winning the lottery is such a crazy thing that your identity is not able to keep up. So their identity is down here and the money brought them up here, but their identity is still down here. And guess what? Your state of being will always be drawn back to your identity. I understand this is kind of an advanced concept, but try to stick with me here. Whatever your current state of being is, however you are in your life, you will be drawn to your identity. So these people, because they haven't done the self-work, because they haven't worked hard for this money, and it just came to them through the lottery, they have not had time to adjust their self-identity. And so their reality ends up coming back to their identity, not vice versa. So they end up going back down to about where they started, right? And this is the exact same thing with gaming. This is the exact same thing with any sort of addiction. When you see yourself as someone struggling with addiction, that is when you are so much more likely to fall into it. If you see yourself as an alcoholic, you're more likely to drink. If you see yourself as a sugar addict, you're more likely to eat sugar. If you see yourself as a gamer, you're more likely to hop on the game next day. I'm telling you, be delusional. Genuinely, just delude yourself, convince yourself in some way, shape, or form to think, I'm not a gamer, I'm not associated with this thing. I know it sounds crazy, but just trust me. Your reality always follows your identity. And so if you place your identity ahead of you, even if you are still addicted to video games and you can't stop and you keep hopping on the game every single day, you place your identity in front of you. You tell yourself, no, I never play games. I'm not a gamer. Games are bad for me. I know that. You tell yourself that. And even if you still are getting stuck on the game every day, you still will slowly progress towards your identity because that is how it works. Your reality always comes toward your identity. If your identity is below you, like when you're addicted, you are dragging yourself down. But if you put your identity above you, if you have a little bit of arrogance, a little bit of an ego, a little bit of delusion to where you put your own self-identity above where you actually are at, it's like the overweight person who, sees themselves in the mirror and says like, oh yeah, looking good today. I'm proud of myself, they almost imagine like the exact physique or body that they want. They are going to do so much better because they have shaped their identity to be like this person, and so their reality will start to go towards that. They're going to be less likely to cheat on their diet that day because they see it in themselves. They see the potential to actually go and achieve it rather than seeing themselves as stuck in where they are at in their addiction, etc. Okay, I know that was a short video of just kind of a rant. Basically, don't put your identity around your addiction. I know it can be hard, especially when addiction takes control over your life. It can be very easy to put that as part of your identity. But the goal here is to put your identity far in front of yourself, to see yourself as more than you actually are, just in your own eyes, to actually get your reality and your current state to that point, right? Because your identity always precedes your actions and your reality. Your reality will follow. Last thing, top link in the description is my full mental health guide. I go in depth I have a whole section in my mental health guide on exactly how to quit specifically video gaming addiction, but also a specific section for sugar addiction, a specific section for social media, as well as an entire full willpower chapter that goes in depth on how you build willpower, how you defeat addiction, etc. And by the way, that's only one of the chapters out of the 6 in my book. There are other chapters that go in depth on other mental health capacities such as motivation, discipline, all of these things that will help you level up in your social life, in your goals, in your relationships, anything like that. You will see benefits from this book because mental health is at the core of everything that you do. And so when you improve your mental health, you can improve literally every other aspect of your life. So if you found this video interesting, if you want to learn more about how you quit addiction, how you can improve your mental health overall, please do check out the top link in the description. That's all, and I will see you in the next one.